closely or to handle them, the Frenchman was allowed only a cursory to look at 2 or 3 fragments. He was then reduced by Shapira's intransigence to spending 2 days looking at 2 additional fragments on display in a glass case jostled by other visitors to the museum out of spite and a probably justified exasperation. The Frenchman at last pronounced the fragments to be forgeries. Other scholars, without even bothering to look at the fragments, echoed this conclusion, and the affair quickly degenerated into farce. Shapira had effectively ruined himself, repudiated and discredited the shot. He shot himself in a Rotterdam hotel room on 9 March 1884. His scroll fragments were purchased by a London antiquarian book dealer for 10.5. Since then they have disappeared, though they might conceivably still turn up in someone's attic or among the belongings of some private collector. According to the last attempt to trace them, they may have been taken to Australia with the effects of a dealer in antiquities. A number of modern authorities, including Allegro, who had a special study of Shapira, have become convinced that Shapira's fragments were probably genuine had they been discovered this century rather than last. Allegro maintained they would in all likelihood have proved to be as valid as the material found at Qumran. But in the late 19th century, ego scholarly reputations and vested interests were as much on the line as they are today. As a result, something of potentially priceless value has almost certainly been irretrievably lost. At the same time, discoveries such as Shapira's continue to be made. Thus, for example, in the late 1970s, when we ourselves had little more than a cursory knowledge of the Dead Sea Scrolls and other such documents, we were telephoned by a friend from Paris, a collector of antiques. He asked if, on virtually no notice, we could meet him at a restaurant in London, not far from Charing Cross. Michael Bagant, who'd done much professional photography, was particularly requested. He who was asked to bring a camera along and keep it hidden. Bacon found our associate in the company of 3 other men, an American collector, a Palestinian dealer, and a Jordanian engineer. He accompanied them to a nearby bank, where they were ushered into a small private room, and 2 wooden chests were produced, each locked with 3 padlocks. We don't know what's in these chests. One of the bank's officials said pointedly, "We don't want to know what's in them." The officials then left, locking Bagant and his 4 companions in the room. A telephone call was made to Jerusalem and some sort of permission